Mark Zuckerberg is apparently the neighbor from hell. He has moved into the area. He's buying up all the territory, pushing people out. And you're probably thinking I mean Hawaii, which he is doing. But no, this is a different area of America that he's just buying up all of the land and turning it into his little bunker/commune. This would be the Crescent Park neighborhood of Palo Alto, which he moved into. He spent $110 million to buy 11 homes from their current owners, which obviously they're allowed to sell it if they want, but that's a lot of territory and a lot of money as he builds up his own personal country, kind of. Several of his properties sit empty now in a notoriously crunched housing market, which again, he can do that. He has the money. He can just buy up land, not use it, just so that other people can't be there, so he doesn't have anyone near him. That is what he is capable of doing. Apologies to the TD. He has turned 5 of them into a compound with a main house for him, his wife Priscilla Chan, and their 3 daughters, along with guest homes, lush gardens, a pickleball court, and a pool that can be covered with a hydro floor. There is a 7-foot statue of his wife in a silver flowing robe that he commissioned, just in case this whole thing wasn't like ancient Rome enough for you. And might I add, tax the rich. If you have this much money, you are by definition not paying enough in taxes, okay? If you have not one mansion, but many, if you can forget mansions that you own, you are not paying enough taxes, okay? And it should be raised. But anyway, one of the properties apparently has been used for the past few years as a private school for 14 children, which you are not allowed to do, but they're doing it. Sorry, you are not allowed to do it. A guy who has this much money is evidently allowed to do that. But the residents of the area, their concern is less about all of that, and it's more about surveillance, because he has apparently surrounded this massive compound with tons of private security and with cameras pointing into the neighbor's property, and they have an issue with it. Now, I will acknowledge that every one of the people whose privacy is being infringed and are worried about the security around it are all fabulously wealthy people themselves. It's not like he moved into Compton or whatever and started buying up property. He would literally never do that. And so bear that in mind. But that said, this is a thing that he already has the scandal going on in Hawaii. Now he's got it in Palo Alto. This guy does not give a damn about anyone other than himself. Sharon, what do you think?
No, and I don't think his other less rich neighbors are gonna have to worry about this much longer, because with the right access and all of his money, he can buy off certain administration and soon he'll own all of it. It won't be Palo Alto. It'll be Zuckerberg Alto or something, and that'll be that. Just like how people were getting angry because they were closing off, they had beachfront properties, super wealthy, and they were closing off access to these, normally public beaches. This is what's gonna happen. My money out talks your money. My access is bigger than your access. So he can do, you're right, he can do whatever he wants.
Yeah, I think it's a bad thing that like all of the richest people in the world are the worst people in the world. Like maybe that doesn't have to be the way that it is. Like maybe we could reconfigure things a little bit. Like
Warren Buffett, I'm trying to think.
He's comparatively good. Well, remember he also gave away a lot of that money. And in doing it became better, because that's how this works. The rule of money is not what makes you good, it's getting rid of it. Yeah, there needs to be some taxes. Unfortunately, Mark Zuckerberg and all the others bought Donald Trump. They effectively own Elon Musk.
Can I ask you one thing quickly? There's no ordinance against that. You said a 7-foot statue of his wife?
I guess.
And she's still with us today, correct?
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Yeah. That's so tacky.
It's
and
strange.
That's allowed?
Why is she bigger than she is in real life? Does he have like one of those giantess fetishes or something? Why is she 7 feet tall? It's just, the rich are very strange people. In any event, we're gonna move on to what they do that affects not only their rich neighbors, but all of us. So let's jump now to this. America's tech billionaires like that guy Elon Musk, as well as Mark Zuckerberg, are buying up more and more land to build ever increasingly large data centers to power their AI fantasies. And that is already causing a lot of problems, some of which we've previously reported on, like Elon Musk, who just needs more grok. So he's causing all this pollution from his data centers in Memphis that are making the local residents sick, not him. He would literally never live in one of these areas. It's poor and working class and middle class people that are gonna get sick, and some will die, so that these billionaires can pursue AI projects. And Zuckerberg, of course, has one that he wants to build that is literally the size of Manhattan. And that may seem crazy and that may seem dystopian, but don't worry, you can like chat with the AI then, and you can make an image or something. So I guess it's all worth it. But anyway, let's talk about the most recent development in this, because these data centers have a huge footprint, not only geographically, but also in terms of the power that they use. And to put it in perspective, a massive Wyoming data center will soon use 5 times more power than all of the people that live in Wyoming. And no one knows what it's for. You can just build a data center that soaks up all the electricity, and in so doing, raises the price of electricity for the actual humans living there. And it just goes somewhere for somebody. Maybe we'll eventually find out, or maybe not. And more of these are popping up all over the place. And they are not only gobbling up electricity and making it more expensive for all the people, they are gobbling up water, potentially causing issues for farmers, for regular people, and again, driving up the price as well. And then there's the emissions, and they are making people sick. And what are they doing to offset all of this? Well, likely nothing, because it's way cheaper to just buy out the politicians and get them to give you these cushy deals where you don't have to pay for the secondary costs of your data centers than to actually pay for what you're doing right now. And the ridiculous thing is, when we do these updates about how these data centers are being built all over the place, you might think, oh, well, AI is really popular. They need to build these because of all the demand. That is evidently not at all the case. The average server utilization rate for the data centers that already exist are between 12 to 18% of capacity, while an estimated 10 million servers sit completely idle, representing $30 billion right now in wasted capital. Even active servers rarely exceed half utilization, meaning the majority of our existing computation infrastructure is essentially burning energy while doing nothing productive whatsoever. And so, look, is there a lot of AI being used and other stuff that uses these data centers? Yes, but also a lot of this is aspirational. And think about Mark Zuckerberg. Mark Zuckerberg didn't drop tens, maybe hundreds of billions of dollars into the metaverse because the demand was there. He did it because he wanted to imagine that's the next big thing. How often have you been on the metaverse recently, by the way? And he looked ridiculous. He looked like a big old goof as a result of that. Well, it might be that that's what's going on with AI. I could be wrong, and certainly there's a lot of commercials about how you gotta have AI, you gotta have all this. But I will just remind you, GPT-5 just came out. It is like indistinguishable from GPT-4. It might be that this is as useful as it's ever gonna be. Look at AI and AI. Look at Apple and Apple Intelligence. You using a lot of Apple Intelligence in your new iPhone? No, because it ain't that useful. And yet they're building all of this stuff, sinking hundreds of billions of dollars into it because they imagine that'll be the next big thing. And maybe they're right. Certainly they're a lot richer than I am. But anyway, it seems potentially like a lot of damage being done to a lot of real people in pursuit of this dream. But what do you think, Sharon?
And most real people who can't afford to barely get by, if they're lucky enough to have a job and kind of support their family, don't even know about this stuff. They have no idea about the water consumption, the heat. By next year, the United States will consume more electricity than we ever had before. The dependence on fossil fuels. They don't know anything about this. They don't even understand it. And that's not a criticism of, people, but they're doing all this while we're not even aware. And by the time we wake up or get woke collectively, call in the lawyers and the class action lawsuits and God knows what else, ailments, all kinds of things. And it's really too late. We'll just compensate and pay them pennies on the dollar. There's companies in America that have a history of doing things like that. They know the damage. And by the way, it's not going to be in their neighborhood. You notice that? Is Zuckerberg, maybe that's why he's taking on so many properties in Palo Alto. Maybe he just wants to build a data center there. That's not what he's doing.
100%. Yeah, he's not going to be building one of these on his Hawaiian island or whatever. Elon Musk is not going to be breathing the fumes from the grok factory or whatever. It's us. We're the ones who pay the actual price. They're the ones that make the profit. They're the ones that, despite misstep after misstep, Elon Musk is apparently worth more than $400 billion now. He's just past 400. They say in a couple years he might be worth $1 trillion.
It's just
Tesla is getting bad news after bad news. The Cybertruck, massive flop. Their sales are down. Grok is Mecha Hitler or whatever. How exactly is his wealth gonna more than double in the next couple of years? What has he predicted that has come true in the last half decade? But again, the stock market has no relationship with reality. It is as much relationship with reality than the military occupation of DC does with the actual situation with crime there. But this is unfortunately what happens when you put these people in charge.